Welcome to the University of Guelph. I'm Stacia Elliott, the director of the School of Hospitality, Food, and Tourism Management, and I'm so excited to bring you into our new Anita Stewart Memorial Food Laboratory, generously supported by an alumni, Michelle Irene Fornell, and named for the wonderful work of Anita Stewart, University of Guelph's first food laureate and the founder of Food Day Canada. Anita would describe herself as a culinary explorer. She really believed in food as this rich, diverse, delicious means to connect people and land. And as a writer, she crisscrossed the country, seeking out food and farmers, chefs and suppliers, stories and recipes that together in many ways define Canada. And so we're very proud to carry on the legacy of Anita in our lab and celebrate Canadian food. I'm so very honored to introduce and welcome our very first guest to the lab, Anita's son, Jeff Stewart, a chef, a sommelier, an educator, a hospitality leader. Jeff is going to help us very appropriately celebrate Food Day Canada by teaching us a recipe that reminds him of his mom.
Hi, my name is Jeff Stewart. I'm an alumni from the University of Guelph, and I'm the son of Anita Stewart. I'm also here with Food Day Canada today, and we're cooking in the Anita Stewart Memorial Food Lab. Food Day Canada is a celebration of Canadian food. We cannot celebrate the food grown in Canada without acknowledging that the land and the food which it comes from belongs to the Indigenous peoples. In addition, we'd like to recognize the Anita Stewart Memorial Food Lab resides on ancestral and treaty lands of several Indigenous peoples, including the Attawandaron and the Mississaugas of the Credit. And we recognize and honor the neighboring Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Métis. We uphold the significance of the dish with one spoon covenant by ensuring that we build lasting relationships that respect, honor, and value the culture, traditions, and wisdoms for those that have lived here since time immemorial. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land and acknowledge that we still have a long way to go to show our respect. Well, we're going to do a couple of recipes today. We're going to do one from Mom's very first book and one from Mom's very last book, actually. The first recipe is one called Plats. Plats is a recipe that came from the Windsor Farmers Market, and it was also called their pie by the foot. It's kind of a cake, it's kind of a pie, maybe like a coffee cake almost. But the thing I love about Plats is you can make it any time of year with any of the fruits that happen to be in season. So today we're going to do it with a bunch of tender fruit, but you can do it in the spring with strawberry and rhubarb. You can do it in the fall with pears and apples. It's really quite versatile. Start off with the Plats. It's really quite simple. We're just going to make a little bit of a crumble topping over here, and to do that we just start with a little bit of sugar, put it in the butter, and flour. And in this particular recipe, it's equal portions with a half cup each, and we just cream the whole thing together. So boom, that's done, and into the fridge it goes. Okay, so for the base of the Plats, it's a really simple batter recipe. It's a pretty thick batter recipe, but the important thing that we're going to be doing here is using all Canadian ingredients. So we're going to start with some lovely butter, sugar. So we're going to start by creaming the butter and the sugar together. Again, just going to slowly get that in, incorporate them in, and really what you want to do here is make sure that this gets super fluffy and creamed all together, because that'll really help make a fluffy base for this. We've got some flour, a little bit of baking soda in there as well too. I'm adding just a little pinch of salt to kind of bring those flavors out a little bit. Buttermilk, milk or cream. Pulse it a little bit till it's kind of coming together. You don't need to overmix this. There we go, that's looking fantastic. And it's looking kind of consistent. We can go back in with the fruit. Oven's preheated to 375. We've cleaned and chopped up some delicious late strawberries, some early plums, delicious blueberries, great looking cherries as well too. And basically you just kind of randomly scatter this all over top. There isn't really a particular order of operations per se. You just want to make sure that the topping is nicely scattered on there. Let's grab that streusel topping that we put in the fridge a little bit earlier. You can see it's getting a little bit hardened up there, and all we're going to do is just kind of sprinkle that on. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. So we've got our streusel topping on there. Fruit's all scattered around on top of the batter. Into the oven she goes, preheated at 375, and we'll see that in about an hour. So the Platts is just out of the oven. You can see it's got a nice kind of golden brown color to it. Very carefully, I'm just going to take that out and put it over here on our cutting board. I like to serve this in the morning with a nice cup of coffee or tea. And there we go. You can see along the bottom, it's got a nice kind of darker brown color and a nice little crumb inside and a golden on top. All right, so we're going to be doing a little bit of miso salmon here. And for the miso salmon, this is a recipe that was originally shown to Mom by Michael and Nobio Statlander on Salt Spring Island. Mark caught some salmon, they made up this delicious dish, and it starts off with miso. So the miso we're going to be using comes from north of Toronto. It's called traditional miso. Traditionally, the recipe is made with mirin, but we're going to use a little bit of slightly sweet Canadian wine, a little off-dry Riesling from Peller. So that's it, 2 ingredients in there for the glaze, and we're just going to mix those up. We shelled up some hazelnuts and we shelled up some heart nuts. I just love these little heart nuts. They're cutest darn little things. Oh, so sweet. For this part, we're going to take some really nice line-caught wild BC salmon. We've got the glaze over here, and we're just going to take that glaze and get that nice and coated with the nuts. And in this particular case, we've got some hazelnuts and sprinkle them on liberally. All right, so we're going to take a little bit of canola oil. We're going to put that in the pan just to get that going. You can see it's nice and shimmery, so it's all ready to go. And then all we're going to do, and this is only going to be in the pan for just a couple of minutes, not even really. We just want to crisp up that skin. This is getting nice and crisp on the skin, and this is only going to take a few minutes in the oven, no more than about 8. So 8 minutes from now, we'll be ready to go on that. The last salmon out here, it is ready to go. Look at that. So let's just get that right on the plate, serve it with some greens. That's it, miso salmon with hazelnuts and heart nuts. Delicious. And to finish with dessert, a little bit of summer fruit Platts. For Food Day Canada, Anita Stewart, Mom, she always said, Canada is food and the world is richer for it. And we want to encourage all Canadians to shop, cook, and dine Canadian. Go out to your local restaurants. Celebrate your Canadian food, the bounty that we have from our farmers and all around us. Don't forget to mark your calendars for the Saturday of the Civic Holiday weekend. Food Day Canada, come join the party.